Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Marriage, Money, and Mindset. We are your host. I'm Jared.
And I'm Alexis.
And we're back for another episode of Marriage, Money, and Mindset. This is episode 19, today. And of course, we got to do our announcements before we kick the episode off. Welcome to 2024, guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We here. We made it. You know what I'm saying? Hope y'all had a great New Year's, safe and great New Year's Eve and day. And also last week had our episode on Christmas, which was
New Year's resolution.
New Year's resolutions, right? So of course we gave y'all 12 gifts pertaining to some goals for 2024 that you could look into endeavoring into, and then a bonus gift, 13 gifts total.
All tying into marriage, money, and mindset, of course.
Right. So if you haven't seen that episode, guys, make sure y'all go back and rewatch it or watch it. And then if you already seen it, rewatch it. We also want to thank new subscribers to the channel. Appreciate y'all. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. We would really appreciate y'all.
It helps a lot whenever you guys share the videos so we can get more exposure and help more people.
Yeah, with the algorithm. Right. So, but yeah, man. So, you know, we're back 2024. We're here. So, of course, we wanted to start this year off back onto the money subject of our channel, preferably about investing, right? So investing in real estate, right? That's what this topic is going to be about today. And we're just going to really dive into just an introduction of what real estate investing actually is. Okay. So this episode isn't going to really have a whole lot of in-depth discussion about the numbers, how to break deals down, etc. We're going to focus on doing that. But we just want to, kind of like we did with the stock series that we did for y'all, where we just kind of did it in stages. It's going to be about the same thing that we're going to do with the introduction of real estate investing, just to kind of, help break down in each episode how you can, potentially get involved in real estate investing if that's something that you're interested in wanting to do. So, of course, the education, that's where your foundation is. You have to understand how to do, real estate investing before you get in, obviously.
Right.
That's not something that I think you should just dive into. It's kind of hard to simulate doing, excuse me, like with the stock market, there's ways you can simulate it. Right. But usually with real estate investing, that's not something I think that you can really there's some games out there. We can throw out a couple games, one being Monopoly, honestly. You laugh, but honestly, that's a great way to learn about real estate investing. And then also Cash Flow, which is a Robert Kiyosaki's game. He has a game called Cash Flow. It's like Monopoly on steroids. It involves a lot more, involvement.
Yes.
You have
There's
a ledger.
a lot more learning in that one. You actually have to write things down. You have to keep up with your budget and your income and expenses, etc. Yeah.
So that's another way you can kind of simulate, doing the real thing, guys. So, but anyway, so let's dive in, right? So this video again, it's investing in real estate, the introduction, right? Okay. So before we kick it off, of course, we're not financial advisors, right? This is just, advice to help you. It's not saying do this. This is just something, we're giving you to educate you with, right? Okay. So what is investing in real estate, right? Let's start there. So real estate investing, it involves purchasing, owning, managing, renting, or selling properties to generate income or profit. So examples of that could be buy and hold or fix and flip, right?
Wholesale.
Wholesale. That's another example. So for us, what we do is actually buy and hold real estate, meaning we purchase it and we rent it out. We lease it to tenants that pay us a cash flow or pay us a rent. And then of course it covers our expense, and then there's positive cash flow. That's the idea of what we do. Okay. So we don't buy and hold, we don't fix and flip. We've never done that. So, and that's another thing I was going to say. We're not really going to give a whole lot of advice on that simply because we don't do it, right? Wholesale, we've never done it. We've literally only done buy, and we've only bought and held real estate to rent for the purposes of renting it out. That's what we do.
We have a general idea of what they are, but because like he said, we don't do them, that's not what we're going to talk about.
Exactly.
So there's also some misconceptions about real estate investing. So what real estate investing is not real estate agents, real estate brokers, and it's also not your primary residence that you live in.
Exactly, guys. So let's clear this up real quick before we continue. Okay, so some people may think that their primary residence is actually an investment in real estate. I get it. I understand.
That's what we've been taught all these years.
Right. But if we're going to talk about which direction cash flow is flowing, well, if it flows out of the liability category column on a financial statement, technically, guys, it's not going to be considered an investment or asset, right? Because the cash is flowing out. Now, I get it. A home builds equity. It has value. It can fluctuate. Yeah, I get all of that, but at the end of the day, guys, for the purposes of what we're explaining, what real estate investing is not, is owning a home that you live in. And of course, being an agent, you get paid a commission for being an agent on either selling real estate or assisting someone with purchasing real estate, and you get a commission off of it, right? So that's not investing in real estate as well. Same thing with a broker, right? Okay, so let's keep it moving. Just to define investments, guys, real quick. I define an investment as something that you purchase that generates a return greater than your cost basis, right? Now, real quick, the operative word there is a return, right? Because some people, back to what I just mentioned, they may say, oh, well, man, you're wrong about calling my home, not calling my home an asset when I paid 200 grand for it. And 5 or 6 years later, I sold it for 250. Well, guys, listen to me. You see the number you sold it for and what you paid for it. You think that there's a $50,000 profit. When the reality is, when you add up every expense associated with that property,
over
such
the
as
lifetime
taxes,
of you owning it.
Exactly, taxes, insurance, mortgage interest, your utilities, because all of these expenses would not have been something you would have paid had you not owned it, correct?
Right.
So once you factor in all of your expense, and then of course you add that amount to your cost base, well, now you're probably negative, right? But you recouped some of your funds. You didn't make a greater return than what your cost base was. So that's my whole point, right? Okay, so let's keep it moving. So real estate investing offers various strategies such as rental properties, house flipping, commercial real estate, and real estate investment trusts, which are REITs, which I really wouldn't consider investing in real estate either. Would you? A REIT?
Why not?
Well, because it doesn't necessarily, it's almost a passive way of doing it.
Yeah, it's not hands-on.
Right. A REIT, guys, is basically a real estate investment trust. That's the acronym for it. And that's something you can purchase on the stock market, right? So if you're an investor in real estate who doesn't want to be hands-on, this is a way for you to capture some of the, benefits of actually investing in real estate without technically investing in real estate.
You are investing in it, but you're not an active investor.
You're not active, right? So it's no different from buying a stock to me,
right?
If you're going that route.
It is buying a stock.
To each his own.
in the real estate market.
Exactly.
So that is one form of investing in real estate.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So just to give y'all some examples of the type of real estate, right, that we're talking about. So there's residential and commercial. So you have single families, duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, apartments. Office buildings, you have mobile home parks. Those are some examples of the types of real estate. Homes, yeah, exactly. You could do Airbnb models. That's also a type of real estate investing as well. So we want to break down 4 reasons, guys, why y'all should maybe consider investing in real estate as a vehicle to help with your goals, right? So we're going to start off with the first one, appreciation. Let's talk about it.
Okay, so appreciation is an increase in the market over time. Some factors include the location, demand, economic conditions, renovations done, and infrastructure improvements.
Exactly.
Anything that can make your property value increase over time.
Exactly. It depends on the market trends and conditions, like you mentioned. These aren't guarantees that your property will appreciate in value, but on average, majority of the time, real estate does appreciate in value. So basically, when you purchase it over time, based on, inflation, commodity prices, et cetera, the market trends, potentially that structure can go up in value. The structure in land can go up in value. Right. But to the contrary, it can also go down in value. Sometimes you may buy at the top of the market. Like, for instance, during 2021, when rates were basically zero, a lot of people, there were bidding wars on real estate. Well, now those people that bought in 21 probably have a correction where they're upside down. They may be upside down with their property, meaning that they bought the property at the peak. Mm-hmm. And so now that the market's starting to correct, they may have 10 or 15% of equity that just vanished, right?
Right.
So it's just giving you an idea of appreciation can sometimes occur, but sometimes it doesn't occur. It fluctuates. Mm-hmm. So let's give them a second reason why they may want to consider investing in real estate.
Okay. So rental income, my favorite.
Cash
flow.
There you go.
So it's steady stream of income from your tenants. So every time your tenants pay rent monthly, or not every time because you may have expenses, maintenance. But it's basically the money that you get monthly from your tenants.
Basically, guys, yeah. You put a tenant in a property, every month they're going to pay you the rent amount. Rent comes in, then there's expenses, then they should be a positive cash flow.
Should be,
right? If you did your numbers right, which we're going to get into later in another episode. Like right now, We're just literally just breaking everything down. What is real estate investing again, guys? So, so that's basically the gist of rental income, right? Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the third reason why people may want to consider investing in real estate, which is one of my favorite reasons why.
Tax benefits such as depreciation, right?
Yeah, tax benefits. Okay. Same thing.
You are allowed to write off the cost of your property over the course of 27 and a half years. So that's pretty much what depreciation is.
Right. So that's why I said tax benefits, because that's just one of the tax benefits, guys. Mm-hmm. So she mentioned depreciation, all right? So basically, like she mentioned, when you look at the structure of the property, that's actually a tax write-off, a portion of it annually, right? So 27 and a half years for a single family residence. Mm-hmm. So just for simplicity, I did some math for you. If you were to purchase a home for 150 grand, let's assume that 20,000 is the land and 130 is the structure, right? Mm-hmm. So over that 27 and a half year period, you'll be looking at a 4,300, correct. Hang on. We're gonna have to edit that.
Okay.
You'll be looking at an annual write-off of $4,363, guys. Okay, and that's a phantom expense, by the way, meaning that that's not money that you actually spent. That's just what the IRS grants you to write off as someone who invests in real estate. That's your incentive. That's one of your incentives, right? So there's another one that I like, which is mortgage interest deduction. I can't talk today, y'all. Mortgage interest deductions.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, when you make your payments, there's principal, there's interest, then there's taxes and insurance, of course, if you have an escrow. So the interest that you pay your lender, that's a tax deduction as well, guys, in layman's terms. Okay. Mm-hmm. Property taxes, same thing. That's a portion of your payment, just like I mentioned. That's also a tax deduction. Same thing with insurance as well. Another cool thing about real estate is you can defer taxes too, like when you sell a property. So there's something called a 1031 exchange. We've never done one of these yet, mm-hmm. but at some point in time during our journey, we probably will, right? Because we're probably gonna run out of depreciation on some of our properties in the next 27 and a half years. Mm-hmm. So of course, by then we can literally sell that property and use the proceeds to purchase another like-kind investment,
which is equal or mm-hmm. greater value.
Equal or greater. But also, we don't have to pay any capital gains tax, because when you sell real estate, you're subject to paying capital gains taxes, mm-hmm. and you also have to recapture all of the depreciation. So you're looking at a huge tax bill mm-hmm. if you don't roll those proceeds into another like-kind investment, guys. So you want to make sure that you get with your accountant, your intermediary, because there's rules to this 1031 exchange that you must follow. And we're going to dive more into them later in the month as well. Mm-hmm. One more for you real quick with taxes. Tax breaks is repairs and maintenance. Obviously, that's a no-brainer. That's kind of self-explanatory. We don't necessarily need to dive into repairs and maintenance.
But I will say all of these things that we just mentioned, the tax benefits, remember how we were talking about your primary residence being an asset or an investment? This is the reason why it's not an investment, because you're not getting tax benefits for owning a home that you live in.
So, you can write off the taxes and the mortgage interest only if you're itemizing your deductions, I believe. Again, get with your accountants. Don't quote me on that. But from my understanding, you can either do like standard deductions as a married couple, or you can itemize deductions. And if you don't meet the max with your mortgage interest and your property taxes, you may not even get to write it off. But like she mentioned, if you invest in real estate, those are all legitimate tax write-offs. Again, consult with your accountant. All right. So now that's 4 ways, guys, or basically 4 reasons why you may want to consider investing in real estate as an investment vehicle. Now, of course, we want to touch on some of the risks, right? Now, there's always risk associated with any type of investment vehicles, okay? But your job as an investor is to mitigate that risk, right? So regardless of what you invest in, just know that you're going to always have to learn how to mitigate risk, right? So let's talk about some ways real estate can be risky. So let's talk about the first one being just the market risk. Let's talk about that for a few.
Okay, so if your property fluctuates, your property value fluctuates due to changes in supply and demand, interest rates, and market factors.
Yeah. Okay, so like you mentioned, interest rates. So right now, interest rates are terrible for numerous reasons why. But in layman's terms, I think we touched on it before in the video. The Fed fund rate, it's elevated, so that causes mortgage interest rates to increase as well, guys. Right. So right now, people that are in the market looking to purchase real estate, whether that be for an investment or their primary residence, you're going to be paying a premium today, if you're financing your property, right? So just something to think about when you're investing in real estate. Pay attention to what the market fluctuations are. Like right now, of course, rates could be an issue, so just something to consider. I'll touch on the second one, number 2. So liquidity risk, right? So of course, real estate is generally less liquid than other investment vehicles, meaning it may take longer to sell a property or convert it to cash. So liquidity in real estate is in the form of equity, right? Equity is the the value minus the debt. That's going to equate to your equity, right? Okay. So to access this equity, usually it only occurs within 2 ways. So it's either you can refinance, where it's basically where you go to the bank, you would get the appraisal done, and the bank will let you know how much you can borrow up against the amount that you can borrow up against of the value. Right. So usually, like most lenders, usually let you borrow up to between 80-85% max against the value of your property. So just to break it down with numbers, if you have a property that's appraises for $100,000, usually you can get up to 80 to 85,000 of your equity minus 80 to 85,000 being the new loan minus whatever your balance is, and then that would be the difference, right? We're gonna do numbers later on this channel, guys. Like just right now, we're not focusing on numbers right now. But like a stock, if I want to sell a stock today, it's instantaneously, right? When the market's open, of course. Right. But to sell or to capture some equity out of your real estate, it's a longer waiting game. You have to get appraisals. It could take months. So just know that one risk being once you invest in real estate, it's going to take a while for you to get that liquidity right back into your pocket. So just take that in consideration whenever you invest in real estate. Okay, let's talk about the third reason why it could be risky.
The third risk is tenant risk. So having vacancies, non-payments, property damage, all of that affects your cash flow. Yeah,
exactly. So of course, guys, you never really know what type of tenant you're going to have until you have them in your unit. Okay, so
and that just comes with the territory.
It does. It comes with the territory, right? So this isn't for the faint of heart, guys. This type of business, you got to take this in consideration. Again, your job is to mitigate risk. So how do you mitigate risk when you're evaluating a tenant? Well, of course, you want to make sure that they meet the criteria. They want to make sufficient amount of income to be able to pay the rent, first and foremost. You may want to do a background check their criminal history, check their job status, maybe get some references.
Their rental history,
things of that nature, right? Those are some ideas of what you can do. Now, of course, we use a property manager. They usually do all of that job for us. Right. So, however, I'm aware of what they usually do. And you still need to know what to do in the event that you may not want to use a property manager, right?
Yes.
So just know that there's some tenant risk involved if you're going to be renting out real estate and as an investment, right? Okay, so let's keep it moving. The fourth reason why real estate can be risky is interest rate risk. We already touched on this, so we don't have to go too much into that. Just know that it can affect your cash flow. So now one thing I will say, be careful whenever you're financing your property, simply because you want to make sure if your rate's fixed or if it's on an adjustable rate mortgage, which is also ARM is the acronym for that, adjustable rate mortgage. Because some people may find themselves in some trouble. They may start off with an introductory rate that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
But in 4 to 5 or 7 years, that adjustable rate will kick in, and whatever the rates are at that point in time, it'll adjust to that. So that's just something else to take consideration. You're gonna have to make some choices probably where hopefully you can either refinance your balance, even though it'll still be at the newer rate. Hopefully you got enough equity in there where your P&I will still be, where you can positive cash flow.
Right.
You just got to know your numbers, guys.
Yeah,
that's one thing.
It's
all about the numbers. And that's something we're going to, of course, help y'all with, here in a little bit, further in this series, right? Okay, guys. And the last, we have two more. What, you zoomed in on this?
Yes, I can.
Look at it messing me up, man. Okay, so the fifth reason why real estate may be risky, guys. Number 5, regulatory and legal risk, right? Okay. So of course, zoning laws, legal disputes, it can impact the property value or income potential. So this kind of makes me think about you probably getting sued, which is something we haven't experienced and we hopefully never have to experience.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But just know, guys, there is the risk of being potentially sued by a litigious person in this business, But again, that's why you have liability insurance, right? So of course, when you purchase real estate, you want to make sure, we're going to touch more on this in another episode, of course, but you want to make sure you have your entity set up correctly. You want to have, you probably don't want to have a sole proprietorship. You probably want to have an LLC. You may want to have, an EIN. You may want to have, good liability insurance along with, windstorm, et cetera. All of that stuff is going to help
protect you.
Right. Mitigate that risk of you potentially being sued. So we'll go more into depth in that later in another episode, just not this episode, guys. So just know that that's one of the risks. And then one more risk for you, of course, is maintenance and unexpected expenses, right? So talk about that.
Okay. So repairs and maintenance expenses can be unpredictable and may impact profitability. So we've experienced this. And I think anybody investing in real estate, at some point, you're going to get maintenance.
Oh, yeah. Comes with the territory.
Yeah. Even if you're a renter, you know that things break. So you're going to need things fixed. So you have to have a reserves for all of that, which also we're going to get into later.
Yeah,
but that affects your cash flow.
Right. But at the end of the day, guys, so look, listen to me. When you understand these risks and conditions through research, due diligence is crucial before investing in real estate to understand these things. You want to mitigate potential drawbacks and make informed decisions, right? So again, it can, like I mentioned earlier, all investment vehicles have risk associated with it. But when you educate yourself and prepare, prepare yourself for what you're getting into, it can make these challenges again that much less effective to your bottom line, right? So like just to make it a little bit more personal for us, when we started, maintenance seems to be our biggest I guess drawbacks, quote unquote drawbacks that we've had. But again, we were always prepared for it whenever it occurred. We already had reserves, we already had capital and access to funds and credit, et cetera, that we can tap into to help weather that storm when it occurs. But also we have multiple units that can also help weather that storm. We're not always, for instance, if you have one unit, one door, you're either 100% occupied or 100% vacant. Right. So the idea behind getting into real estate investing also, at least for us, is to scale. Okay. So I would highly recommend if you want to get into this business, consider scaling that business simply because for that reason I just mentioned, you don't want to have 100% occupancy or 100% vacancy, right? And then that can also help weather the storm for whenever these unexpected events happen, right? But at the end of the day, guys, look, it can be very lucrative investing in real estate. Just know that it's going to require research, financial planning, and you have to have a long-term perspective.
Yes.
Right?
And continuous learning.
Continuous learning, exactly. So yeah, guys, that's basically what we wanted to start this series off with, okay? So going forward, what we're going to do for y'all, again, this whole month we're going to dedicate to real estate investing, right? So today's video is dedicated to just an introduction of what real estate investing is. What we want to do next for y'all is basically help y'all to prepare to invest in real estate. So we're going to talk more about like LLCs, reserves, things of that nature. We're going to dive more into it. So we hope y'all stick with us, right? We hope y'all come back. We hope y'all stay tuned, and hopefully we can give y'all, you know, some information that can help y'all with starting your journey in real estate investing, right? That's our plan for y'all. So while the rates are high, like we mentioned in the last video, while the rates are high, let's prepare for what we're going to do when the rates come back down.
Exactly.
That's the point of this, right? So, hey, anything else you want to mention before we exit this episode?
Just what you hit on. Some people do make the excuse like they're not going to get into it because they don't know everything. But this is the time now, while the rates are high, the market is not really favorable to purchase real estate investments right now, at least for us. You could be learning. So get you some books. There's a lot of great resources on YouTube.
We're one of them. We're going to try to be one of them.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So just get your education.
Yeah, education is like essential, guys, in this business. You know, this isn't something that you just really passively can do. There's ways to like delegate, you know, with management, you know, having a good accountant, things of that nature. Right.
Educate yourself on building a team.
Yeah, exactly. Networking. You know, you want a good rapport with a lender. You want a good rapport with a property manager, a real estate agent, accountant, a maintenance crew, you know, just to help delegate some of these jobs. Because if you're going to be a one-man show doing this, man, like, it's just it just makes it that much, it turns into a job.
Right. And that's not why we're in real estate.
Exactly. You know, so we're all about delegating. Yeah, it's going to cost, but at the end of the day, you include that in your expense. So it doesn't affect your bottom line. That's what we out the gate intentionally put it in our expenses, because we knew we were going to scale this business to not have to,
do that legwork,
you know, advertise, show the, etc. Right? Okay, guys. So that's pretty much what we got for y'all today. It's kind of short and sweet. So hey, just stay tuned. We're gonna have more to come about real estate investing. We're gonna get real deep into the numbers. So just stay tuned, guys. We appreciate y'all. Happy New Year, and let's get this money. So,
peace.
See y'all.